This will be the only sleeper show or podcast that you listen to this week that doesn't even speak the name Isaac Guerendo.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Isaac Guerendo.
No, you won't hear that name come out of my mouth one time this whole show. I won't do it. And it's not because we don't love Isaac Guerendo. We do. We love Isaac Guerendo. Isaac Guerendo is going to be a league winner. But we're not even going to talk about Isaac Guerendo because we go deeper than that on this show. Everyone's already talking about him. And at this point, you don't need to hear another word about Isaac Guerendo.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to sit here and give you the green light to start Isaac Guerendo this week.
No,
like everybody else does, even though we might think that's a good idea.
You've heard every fantasy analyst on the planet talk about Isaac Guerendo all week, but we're different. We are different. You don't need us to tell you how Isaac Guerendo is a perfect fit for the Kyle Shanahan rushing scheme, or how Isaac Guerendo is an athletic freak, 221 pounds, 4.33 speed, and that in the 2 games that Isaac Guerendo has touched the ball 10 or more times this season, he's averaged 100 yards from scrimmage. Or on top of that, how Isaac Guerendo also has elite burst and lateral agility, and that Isaac Guerendo has a great matchup this week against the Bears defense that is tough against the pass, but 25th against the run and the 8th easiest matchup for running backs according to schedule just a fantasy points. You don't need any of that.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not going to mention that in those 2 games you mentioned, his yards per carry was like up in the 8.5 to 9 range. We're not going to talk about that at all.
We don't need to talk about that. We're not going to talk about it at all. So we're going to spare you all of the Isaac Guerendo talk, and we're going to give you actual fresh takes that are going to help you win in Week 14. So sit back, relax, and enjoy an Isaac Guerendo free show. Sam, hit me with the first sleeper.
I will do so. It's Isaac Guerendo. I'm kidding. In all seriousness, we're giving you permission to play Isaac Guerendo.
Wheels all the way up.
Yeah, wheels up on him, man. You're my first one. Let's see. I'll start because this wouldn't be a sleepers and streamers, Alex, that you and I do without mentioning a tight end. So
that's right.
So we're gonna pull Grant Calcaterra out again.
Yes.
With Dallas Goedert down. Calcaterra, he played well. I mean, he wasn't knocking anybody off the map in Goddard's stead. And you could make the case that with Devontae Smith backs, that actually limits some of his opportunity. But I'm here to tell you, in the last 2 games with Devontae Smith, Goddard was averaging over 10 points PPR. So if anything, I think Smith stretching the field actually helps open up that middle of that zone there. And I think if you're hurting at tight end, if the buys are killing you, I could do worse than Grant Calcaterra. And you've got, I've made a case for Juwan Johnson now that Taysom Hill is gone. And I've made a case for Ja'Van Sanders this year. Those 2 guys have way harder matchups than Carolina. And you might think it's just going to be the Saquon Barkley show, but Carolina is giving up over 7 catches a game to tight ends. They've given up 7 TDs to tight ends this season. They are one of the worst defenses in fantasy against the tight end because they leave the middle of the field open there. So I think he's worth streaming. If not, holding on to if Goddard doesn't come back. He's pretty iffy.
He had, in the games that Goddard was out earlier in the year, Grant Calcaterra had a pretty healthy target share in most of those games. He was
Yeah, he
getting
was
worked
still
in.
involved.
Yeah. And every week when we do our sleeper show, I kind of, throughout the week, I would start making a list of the players that I want to consider. And then, Friday night, I'm, tug of warring with myself, trying to limit it down to 3 players. Grant Calcaterra was on the list. He was on the list. I've always liked Grant Calcaterra. And there was some, buzz about him in the preseason. I picked him up in a couple dynasty leagues and stashed him. And I might start him in one this week.
Yeah, and most importantly, like you said, he was getting targets even when Goddard was on the field, which tells me that Jalen Hurts trusts him. And that's one of the most important parts of a tight end, is the quarterback trust factor.
All right. I don't know how much trust Cooper Rush has in Brandin Cooks, but it looked pretty good last week. So week 13 was Brandin Cooks' first game back from his knee infection. They kind of eased him back in. He played 40% of the snaps, ran 54% of the routes, but he was targeted 7 times, which came out to a nice 19.4% target share. And if you look at the routes that he ran, he got a target on 35% of his routes, that's a significant number. And it only resulted in 3 catches for 16 yards. He did find the end zone, which gave him 10.6 fantasy points. But that role is going to get ramped up to more snaps, more routes, as Cooks gets eased back into the offense coming off the knee injury. And Cooper Rush is averaging 41 pass attempts per game over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, don't look forward to change now.
Yeah, and they got a nice matchup. I feel like we always pick on your Bengals, but Bengals are the 5th easiest matchup for wide receivers when you adjust for opponents. And in 8 of their last 9 opponents have had at least 2 of their wide receivers reach 10 or more fantasy points per PFF. And Cincinnati has allowed 6 touchdowns to wide receivers in just the last 4 games. Game script is going to call for a lot of passing in this game. I think you can start Brandin Cooks as a wide receiver 3 as a flex play in deeper leagues this week. Buymageddon 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, just on the potential for volume alone, because it's not like Dallas has a ton of pass catchers. So if he's going to throw the ball 40 times, and CD's been a little hobbled, he'll play. Yeah. But he's been a little hobbled, and Tolbert's been on again, off again. Well, what else you got? You got Rico Dowdle. Ferguson will be back, so that'll help. But Cooks, I mean, he stands to get, I would say, 10 targets this week. I would almost bet on it.
Yeah, I agree. What you got?
Next up, I like to set them up before you spike them down. I'm going to give you a running back from the New York Football Jets.
Isaiah Davis.
Isaiah Davis is my next one. Now, I'm going to leave some of these stats on the table for who his backfield mate is. I think everybody's familiar. But he's still a rookie, and so is Isaiah Davis. Now, there's a couple things he's got going for him. He hasn't seen a whole lot of juice this season, but for the first time last week, he did. He had 1 carry. He caught all 3 of his receptions, averaged 9.3 yards per catch, and scored a touchdown. And that's kind of, what we're looking for in a deep league streamer. And this is deep league. I'm talking like last resort kind of guys. Braelon Allen had 49 catches in college, and Isaiah Davis in, I think, 1 less season had 53. And I don't think he would be in this position on the depth chart if he was not adept in pass protection. I don't even think he'd be on the roster. He was a 6th-round pick out of South Dakota. Go Jackrabbits. And And so I think there's a reason he's there, and I'm guessing the reason is he can catch the ball. The other reason is you don't want to limit yourself to just one running back, because then everybody keys in on that running back every time he's in the backfield. You know what I mean? And not that they're going to stack the box against Aaron Rodgers, but at least they can keep the defense guessing by getting Isaiah some snaps. So I think in a very deep league, he's only rostered in 5% of leagues. Alcantara was 3%, believe it or not. But Isaiah's only, he's there. He's in your leagues. So if you're in a very deep league and you're just looking for somebody to flex in the hopes that they'll cross the goal line and put up some catches in PPR, let's shoot for 8, 9, 10 points from him.
Yeah, I like Isaiah Davis coming out. He's a big back, some athleticism, can do a little bit of everything. And,
said all. I mean, I know it was South Dakota, but he set just about every record you could set there. He had 3,000 yards rushing in his 3 years as the running back there. So,
well, I see your Isaiah Davis, and I raise you Braelon Allen.
Yeah, I'm setting him up, and you're spiking him down.
So obviously, we know Breece Hall is not expected to play against the Dolphins. He's been officially ruled out. So Allen's going to be the bell cow. While I do believe Isaiah Davis is going to get mixed in, a change of pace guy who can, do some stuff, it's going to be the Braelon Allen backfield, in my opinion. So Braelon Allen was built to carry a huge NFL workload. He's 235 pounds. He can easily handle a 20-plus touch game. He's probably going to get it in this one. So he's a big, strong, powerful running back. He's going to grind out yards between the tackles, dominate short yardage, be the guy at the goal line. Remember, earlier in this season, there were some fears, there was some buzz, there was some talk that Braelon Allen was going to start to eat significantly into Breece Hall's workload because he was playing so well in his early opportunities. If we look back at weeks 2 through 4, Braelon Allen carried the ball 25 times in those 3 games, totaled 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he averaged 11.7 fantasy points playing alongside Breece Hall. And one other time, he had 7 or more carries later in the year. It was week 8 against the Patriots. He had 9.2 fantasy points in that game. He was a top 35 running back. And that was with no touchdowns and splitting with Breece Hall. Like I said, matchup this week is decent. The Dolphins they're the 11th easiest matchup for running backs. So there's an opportunity, whether you like Isaiah Davis, whether you like Braelon Allen, one of these Jets running backs is going to score pretty well for you.
Well, and just to be clear, I knew he was doing Braelon Allen, otherwise I would have. But I started looking at that backfield, and I was like, well, Davis might have a role too.
Yeah, I think he will.
I'm excited, though. I'm excited. I think everybody's excited to see how Braelon performs in his first start, especially considering, the kid can't even have a beer if he has a great game. He legally cannot drink yet.
That's right.
He's 20 years old, so he's going to be around this league for a while.
He was running for.
I think everybody's excited to see if he can live up to his potential.
He was running for 1,200 yards at age 17.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But if Braelon Allen doesn't do well this week, cancel me, because that just is going to be a huge blemish on my whole brand, which is built around handcuff running backs succeeding in these situations.
Right.
So,
right.
Braelon, I'm begging you, please, we need you.
Well, it's going to be a dearth on my dynasty teams too, because I've drafted him everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with my third one. Speaking of handcuff running backs, Zach Charbonnet didn't used to be just that. He used to share the backfield with Kenneth Walker.
That's right.
And now he's become nothing but a glorified handcuff, but arguably one of the best ones out there.
Yeah.
You know, Kenneth missed games against New England, at New England, and at home against Miami. And those two games combined, Charbonnet had 41.6 points. That's serious production. And if you're watching, I thought he'd be rostered way more than this. He was 46. He was 46% about 2 hours ago. He's already at 56% now. Snatch him up if he's in your league, because he could start over some of the other running backs that you have, especially against Arizona. And you're talking about a back that's not going to come off the field. You know, he was initially known as a pass catcher. So besides the fact that he's going to get all of Kenneth's work, he's going to get all of Kenneth's work catching the ball out of the backfield too. He's caught 29 of 36 targets this year for 6.7 average. You know, I don't know what else to tell you. If he was open in any of my leagues, he would have been a smash pickup.
Yeah, he's going to get Kenneth Walker's role plus his own role on top of it. That's pretty much what we saw in those earlier games. Is he was full bell cow Zach Charbonnet. Now he's not super efficient, but he gets the volume, gets the touchdowns, catches passes, just like you said. Top 20 running back easily this week for Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, no question about it.
All right, let's go even deeper on this show. Let's
deeper than my 3% and my 5%.
All right, not quite as deep as Isaiah. Not. Trey Tucker. If you need a wide receiver, Jacoby Myers, ankle injury. He missed Wednesday and Thursday practice. He was limited on Friday. He's going to play, but there's some issues there with Jacoby Myers' ankle. DJ Turner was placed on IR, which could, again, mean more opportunities for Trey Tucker in this offense. We look at last week, Black Friday, against the Chiefs. Good Chiefs defense. Trey Tucker, he only had one target, one catch, but that one catch went for 58 yards and a touchdown. And before that game, weeks 9 through 12, Trey Tucker averaged 6 targets per game. And in week 12, he had 8 targets, caught 7 of them for 82 yards. He has scored 13.9 and 15.2 fantasy points over the last 2 weeks. And this is all correlating with the offensive coordinator change to Scott Turner and his dad, Norv Turner, along with him. So I think this is a sticky thing for Trey Tucker. The role has shifted. These guys like him more than the previous offensive coordinator. They're getting him involved. They want playmakers in this offense. I think we're going to see Trey Tucker not only catch passes down the field, with DJ Turner out, he's going to get more opportunities in like jet sweeps and end arounds and screens. Some of the looks that DJ Turner was getting in that offense. I think if you need to dig deep, by Mageddon 2.0, you can pick up Trey Tucker. He's rostered in 7% of leagues. He's a playmaker. He could give you a 0. He could also give you a 2-0-20.
Yeah, he's the very definition of under the radar, the way he's been playing. And I think part of that
last year too.
Yeah, and I think part of that is also, the platforms that we play fantasy football on, they're kind of married to their ways on a lot of players. And I don't think they adequately move people up as much as I would. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the reason nobody's looking at Trey Tucker is because he's so buried in the who's available, because everybody searches by projections and such like that. And there is that risk of a 0. But I really like that call. This
is why we do this show. Trey Tucker is like the definition of why we started doing this show. Guys like Trey Tucker, guys like Isaiah Davis, guys like Grant Calcaterra. All right, you want to grab some questions before we get to our flaming hot bold predictions? We got.
I would love to grab some questions before we get to our flaming hot bold predictions.
How about this one from Jason? Jason was here before us. He's probably not here anymore. But he's asking Braelon Allen, Tyrone Tracy, or Rico Dowdle, Juwan Jennings at the flex half PPR.
I'm out on Jennings for the time being.
Whoa, you are out on Jennings?
I know.
Wow, Jalen Johnson's gonna shut him down.
I know. Who do the Giants have this week?
Giants get someone who has a tight end. I know the matchup. Give me 10 seconds. I know the matchup because there's a tight end that's playing against the Giants that I was interested in. Juwan Johnson.
Well, there's a tight end playing. There's a tight end playing against every team.
I meant one that I was considering for this show. Saints.
I got you.
They're playing the Saints. Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I would love to say Braelon Allen, but I'm not gonna. I think I gotta play Tyrone Tracy in that game, and even then, I would probably lean towards Rico Dowdle after that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He looks good since they've started making it a point to get him the ball. Cincinnati's defense, we're going to see if Cincinnati's just completely quit this week or what, but they're missing defenders as well. So yeah, I'm going to say Tracy, followed by Dowdle and Allen, very, very close. And I'm out on Jennings.
I think we got a 2-for-1 here. I think we pretty much answered Angie's question here. Braelon Allen or Tyrone Tracy? Full PPR.
Hi, Angie. I prefer Tyrone Tracy.
I do as well. So I do have Braelon Allen ranked as a top 20 running back, but I have Tyrone Tracy as a top 12 running back.
I really want Allen to just blow the doors off the place this week. It's just so hard
still the Jets.
starting a guy on his first start. You know what I mean?
It's still the dysfunctional Aaron Rodgers Jets.
Right. And he audibles out of run plays all the time. I hate that.
That's what he does. How about Amari Cooper or Roma Dunze?
I'm going to Dunze. Amari Cooper's been kind of a mess. A Dunze, especially if DJ Moore doesn't play, but I think I might lean a Dunze anyway. Amari Cooper just hasn't been what we expected him to be in Buffalo.
You know, fun fact. So in the 3 games since they fired Shane Waldron, DJ Moore has 30 targets. He's averaging 10 targets per game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Roma Dunze only has 4 fewer targets than DJ Moore during that time.
Wow.
This is a real role for Roma Dunze. I know it hasn't connected necessarily because they're, more volatile down the field targets, but what happens when one of these big down the field targets actually connects?
Well, this is what happens when you switch to more 3 wide sets.
And
everybody gets to eat.
And we talked about
at least gets a seat at the table.
We talked about last week. This team hated Matt Eberflus with a passion, and they are all feeling it this week. We could going against a sinking ship in the 49ers this week. We could get a boom performance from the Bears offense overall.
Yeah, they could put the 49ers out of their misery, and then all we've got is more and more Guerendo the rest of the year.
Let's go, baby. Who? Who? Or we could add Jake Ferguson to that mix. Would you start him over Roma Dunze? Yes. No?
Only if it's a tight end premium.
All right. However,
but I'm really tempted because Cincinnati's so bad against tight ends.
They are. How about from Mr. Magic? Mr. Magic is asking
some man,
Sincere McCormick or Jaylen Warren.
Jaylen Warren for me. He's been performing really well, and I don't see any reason, if you've been riding with him in flex, I don't see any reason to change it.
I sincerely agree. There's also a chance that
well, I see what you did there.
Did you? I also think there's a chance that Alexander Madison ends up back this week. He's
It's
still up in
possible.
there. Yeah. All right. Let's grab the last one from Tyler. Tyler is asking start 2 between Braelon Allen, Devon Achane, Isaiah Pacheco. This one's pretty easy, right?
Man, I really wanted so many more, start Braelon Allens this week, and we didn't get any.
What do you mean? This is, start Braelon Allen this week. Over
You
Pacheco?
think this is?
Yes. Yes.
Who's Miami playing?
Who cares? It's
They're
Achane.
playing what, the Bears?
They're playing the Jets. They're playing the Jets. Jets, Dolphins, they're playing each other. Achane's the easy one.
I'm starting Pacheco.
And
Achane.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start Braelon Allen and Achane. I do have I Pacheco as my RB24, so they're not.
Sorry, we couldn't help you, Tyler.
Who do you trust more?
Who do you trust more?
My
DMs are open, yo.
All right. Hit me with your bold prediction. I know you've been holding this one in since last week. What do you got?
I have. And what was your bold prediction last week?
My bold prediction last week was that Aaron Rodgers, week 13, was going to be his last game of his NFL career.
Right.
I don't think we're going to be that far off, but we'll see.
No, I don't think you will either.
If he gets hit by a bus on the way of the game tomorrow, I'm still right.
You're still
I'm not
right.
taking the L. I'm not taking the L yet.
That's right. My bold prediction is that when Aaron Rodgers says, I'm not only retiring from the Jets, but I'm retiring from football, Davante Adams is going to go with him.
Ooh,
Davante Adams he's never going to play. He won't play another game if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play another game.
Wow. Now, what if Aaron Rodgers goes and signs somewhere else? Is Davante tagging along?
I think Davante hangs on.
They a package deal. They're a package deal from here on out?
I think they're a package deal whether they're on the same team or not. I think their career is a package deal.
All right. I like it. Davante, he's he tried and
probably
failed.
They'll probably have a joint retirement party and nobody will show up because Aaron Rodgers is such a fucking weirdo.
That's right. All right. Let's get to my bold prediction. I got another quarterback bold prediction here for you. So I do have a question for you, though. Jameis Winston has been like the buzz lately. Everybody's on Jameis. Jameis is playing so fun, playing great football, other than the pick sixes. But we know about the pick sixes. We know the whole Jameis package. Which quarterback in the NFL would you say is the closest comparable to the Jameis Winston style of play? Off the top of your head.
I don't know, Caleb. I mean, it's got to be somebody who wants to throw the ball a mile and is prone to interceptions.
Yeah. Give me an AFC team. AFC South.
CJ Stroud.
Oh,
no. No. AFC South.
You're so close. You had it. You're so close. I know the light bulb is just gonna ding.
Oh, it's Anthony Richardson.
No.
That was just a dig at you.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead.
It's Will Levis, right? Will Levis.
Okay, if you say so.
Will Levis is like young Jameis Winston. He wants to chuck it, and he oftentimes makes dumb plays. However,
he does.
With that said, Will Levis, he's been playing pretty well over the last 4 weeks. And over that stretch, he's got a 101.4 passer rating. He's number 2 in yards per attempt. He's top 10 in both passing yards and passing touchdowns. He's got some weapons. Calvin Ridley, Nick Westbrook, Ikine is kind of hot right now. And you look ahead at their last 4 opponents of the fantasy season. It's the Jaguars, it's the Bengals, it's the Colts, and it's the Jaguars, again, in the fantasy championship week. That's the easiest
Where are you
schedule.
going with this?
That's the
Where are you going
easiest
with
schedule
Where are you
for
going with this?
fantasy quarterbacks. So, my bold prediction. Will Levis is going to be the highest scoring fantasy quarterback from now through the rest of the season.